Hello everybody, this is Simeonski. Welcome to another Rec Room tutorial. In this one, I'm gonna explain to you one of the mechanics that I used in my games and also show you how you can build this mechanic into your game step by step. So this is the third part of our tutorial about how to use these lists and spawn these items into the room. Where putting them into a list so we don't kind of double spawn them. And I already showed you before how to do this with the lists here. And how you can reset things to the list. But this was working only for a single player experience. So if you want to transfer the system into a multiplayer experience, you need to adjust a lot of things. And one thing I need to explain first is that these things, these chips here, besides I think the teleport thing not, the set position thing does not, but the rest of these things all play on your headset. This means if someone else is in the room with you and you push this button, it will still copy the thing to you, but all the other things like this chip, for example, that saves the numbers in here, will not be running on the other person's system. So these outputs will be different. Like if I push this now, it will work, it will copy it, and also the other person will see that it's copied over. But I will now, because I removed stuff from here, I will now have the count of 4 and the other person in the room will have the count of 3 and still everything is in. So for our system, this is not working. How can we go around these things? The thing is, we need to create what we call events, event definitions. An event definition is some event that you can trigger, and you can set who this event will be triggered to. We will need more than one, but I will go step by step. So the first thing we want to do is first we want to do is set this up so when we can keep it like it is for now. When the room is loaded, it will be like that. That's fine. But when someone else enters the room, we actually don't want them to, because they could be entering middle of the game and already some cards have been drawn out. We don't want to have copy the same list here, but we want to get the list that's already active, so to speak. So what are we doing? So maybe it's a little bit hard to explain. I will go step by step. So our first definition might be set cards. I will call it cards now. Okay. And then what we can do here is actually we need to do a transfer thing here. Why do we need to do this? Because this thing here is not, we cannot sync this chip directly. So it will not be the same for everyone at the same time. That's why we need a set cards. Maybe we will name this later action here. And we need to add a property which will be list output I hope that works. And then we have to find the list here. And that's a cool thing, this is possible. We can put a list string here as an output and add it. So this will be the set cards thing. And here we will have to use different triggers. Okay, let me build it first. So what we have in this room is something called a room authority, which is one person that has the best system. And what we will need to do in order to make this run on multiplayer, we will always have to send an action to the room authority. Then the room authority, which is only one person, it cannot be more than one people, will kind of edit what is happening and do the steps, like also this stuff the room authority will have to do, and then send the information back to the people that are in the room. I hope that's understandable. It's not super easy, and maybe I will also try to figure out things here, because this was complicated to build actually. But what you need to know for sure is that you need to send out kind of the action that is going on to the room authority, and we are using these events for that. That's maybe the easiest thing to know. So for example, if we, maybe it's the easiest way to show it here. If we get a card, instead of doing these things directly, we will send it to the room authority and then send it back to the player. And therefore we need these things. So yeah, okay, we will rename that. And I would say I will rename it into get cards. Get cards. And then we will have a second one. Event definition. This is just for getting the cards right now. And we will call this, and I think this we can trigger more often, set cards, because it's we can also use it if cards are being removed. But this needs the output for sure. I call it cards now because it was a card game. Even though we changed something for numbers here, if you've seen the old the thing before. Okay, this doesn't probably need the list output, but I will leave it here now. Just for now. Okay, and now we want to put the kind of the so everyone can press this, but we want to send it to the room authority. It will not do anything different here when I'm alone. But it's important to do it like that if you have more than one person inside and you want to keep your values synced, basically. And what we are doing is we basically put event, and then you have an event receiver and an event sender, and basically we will put this in between here. Instead of going directly to this whole thing, we use the event sender and the event receiver and send this here, and we will set this up as get cards. And important here is the target. The target will be now room authority, so only one player, the one that has the best machine, will receive this and continue with the process, so to speak. I hope that's kind of understandable. And then what we want to do here is, of course, we use the, it's called get cards. Okay. We don't need this, I think, for now. Input, no, we don't need it. And then basically everything that's coming after that is running on the room authority thing. Yeah. This should work so far. So it's doing the random from list, takes the thing from the list. And this one, the remove list thing, we need to put after the set position things. Why? It's already after that, but this should be removing the item from everyone's list. So that's why we have the second thing here that we called, or didn't call it anything, set cards. Set cards. Submit. Okay, and we will need to have an event sender and an event receiver in between that again. And what we can do here with these things is we can use the set card thing again. And also here. Set cards, yeah, this will be the other option, so it will send it. And what we can do here is we can send it instead, doing it locally. We can target all. And so this will be changed on all systems now. Problem here is we can put this in between, yeah. I think I did it differently on my game, but since the output is like that, we can actually, should be working if we remove it on the level of this one person setting the things. And then after it's been removed from that one person setting the things, we can send it out here. Okay, and then what we need to do is I think I did it a little bit differently on my game. You can do it in different ways, but this should work. And I will explain to you what's happening. That we basically set the number thing for everyone to the same thing that is being sent out here, which will be exactly the numbering, and so it will be synchronized basically. It will have exactly the same values on every system. So let's try, it should still work. Okay, that's interesting. Room authority, yeah, it's called room authority. So what's the problem? Report list output is configured. Okay. So the problem here is basically since we set an output here for this receiver. I thought it didn't matter, but it looks like it does matter if you have it. So for this one, you don't need it, so we just removed it, and then it should be working. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Connecting this. So you see it works if I'm alone. Okay, and let me go through it really quickly. What happened before and how did it change? So. What we are doing here, someone pushes the button, doesn't matter who it is, push it. An event is sent that goes to one person in the room that has the best machine. And basically this, what happens here, it's sending, receiving, but this is only received by one person in the room, which has the best machine, but doesn't matter. It's only received by one person. Then it gets a random from list. It's connected to this list, which is running on their headset or PC or whatever. And then it's changing the position of this item, removing the thing from the list, which you can see in the last video how we did that, and basically sending out an event to everyone in the room, even yourself, that is taking that is checking this variable, list variable, taking out the outputs and sending it to everyone in the room, and updates the this variable for everyone. That's basically what's happening. Of course, with this system you could also not trigger all, but trigger others, because that would also be possible, because this is already changed for the person that is on room authority. So it doesn't matter, I think. Yeah, can trigger for all, trigger for others. Okay. This was a little bit complicated, I understand, but I hope you got how the system is working. And this would be also working in the same way with this system here. You would have to put the trigger in between, so it goes by the room authority first. Maybe make a new one that's called delete cards. Yeah, here. But the system is basically the same. You would put the delete cards thing in between here before everything else is happening, and then send out the new thing after everything happened here. And then you will need to do that, because then it will also set up the new list for everyone. I hope you've understood what's happening here. You will understand. But what we need to do as well, there's still the situation that someone could enter the room while the game is already going on and he gets the wrong things. Of course, this is not a huge problem here. No, it's not a problem at all, I think. It's not a huge problem here, because then he would basically have to push twice? No, it's working. No, he doesn't need to do that anyways. Yeah. Okay, this is not a problem at all. So this is the system, how it works. You will have to put this here as well. And then it should work. Yeah. So I did it a little bit more complicated on my card game, because there was more things that you could do. For example, you could reset the cards, but this would also work with just pushing this. Of course, you would have to send this again through another event sender, so it's synchronized for everyone. The push me to set the things back, but yeah. Maybe no, it's better to make this just... Okay, once the room is loaded, it selects all this, and maybe we will do something to synchronize. Yeah, let's just do that now. If someone will enter the room, we will do something to synchronize, just to show you how it works, even with events. And actually you don't even need, let's see if you even need an event receiver. We have a player entered, joined, it's called joined. Here we go, player joined. We will make sure that the player is local. It's very important, otherwise it will always trigger when... It will of course always trigger. but we actually wanted to just... No, actually we don't need to do it for the local player. We basically need to fetch the numbers from the room authority basically, and then just updated it for everyone. Yeah, that should work. So we don't need the player's local thing, just if any new players joining, we will do a new event, call it player joined. Or maybe call it a little bit different because the player joined is already there. Call it new player. Okay. Then we will do the thing of triggering it. So event sender, event receiver. So whenever somebody new is joining, an event is sent. It's called new player, and it's sent only to the room authority, to one person in the room. Room authority receives it here. And basically checks on this. And for this we can now even reuse what we already had, which is our event sender that we had before. That's called set cards. So we just need another sender here. Set it to set cards and use all. And then just connect this and this. And so this should just update the cards for everyone in the room again, because that's what it does, to whatever the room authority has in there, so they're all synchronized. So yeah, that's basically how you make it from a single player experience into a multiplayer experience. You just need to know about this room authority thing, and that you need to go through the event senders and the event receivers. Of course, you have to try a little bit. You can do way more things with that than just this example, but this is basically how it works and how it should work for a multiplayer experience. Thank you guys for watching. As always, like and subscribe the video if you liked it, or leave a comment. You can also leave comments on what you want to see more on this channel. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.